Back to the American Space Museum. I'm Mark Marquette. We're so glad you joined us to stay curious. We've got Carleton Bailey beside us here, rocket launch photographer. Over 600 rocket launches he's covered in his illustrious career as a freelancer. How you doing, Carleton?
I'm doing good. It's a busy time out there, and it's just one of those hurry up and wait.
Yeah. Well, what do you got? You fashioned
Um,
up today
this
with
is
your
my
kitty cat on top
on
of a
top of a
T-Rex.
T-Rex, and
Cat's got a laser gun. All
yeah,
right.
yeah,
Very good, very good. We like
space
that. I am
space
fashionable
motif,
today with the Jean Wright vest on.
and it's
Check out Jean's Creations at So Sister Creations on Facebook.
rather dapper. If she could find this kind of material with tyrannosauruses and cats and sloths, I'd buy a wardrobe from
There
her.
you go. She always puts a Payload Bay patch on there that from her days of working as a So Sister. Jean, or we hope you're doing well out there. Uh, Today, Carlton is going to talk to us about being the launch photographer for Artemis and the delays, all that craziness that's going on. And we are sponsored, coming to you from the Hyatt Place Studios inside the American Space Museum in downtown Titusville. Hyatt Place is going to be the venue where we host the Base to Space, a documentary on Mobile Launch Platform 2. Tell us about that platform, Carlton. People that don't know what a mobile launch platform is, and this significance of this one that was disassembled, taken to the dump, and uh, and uh, Mike Cotton and Dave Barnes have done a documentary on it. We're going to have a program Sunday, a week from Sunday, September 12th, 25th at the Hyatt Place. Tell us about the mobile launch platform.
Well, the mobile launch platform is sort of like one of those unsung behind the lens kind of mechanical thing out there. It goes up under the mobile platform, the launch platform, and actually will raise up, I guess, and pick up the platform and crawl out to the 3.5 miles out to the from the VAB out to pad A or B during the shuttle days, and now I guess it only goes to pad B at about 3.5 miles an hour. I know back in the 60s or 70s, I guess 80s, Popular Mechanics did one of their road tests on it, and they got like 60 gallons to the foot or something, one of those things.
60
But
hours to the foot.
it's a shame. I mean, they're using the one for Artemis. They really should have backup for Artemis if this is going to get going, so they could have a second one. And I thought somebody was telling me yesterday about a second one, trying to build a second one or so. So I honest, I don't know as much as I probably should, because that's not really something you think about.
Right.
You see it sitting by the side of the road, so you know something's been out there. I say the road, the crawler way. So you know something's been going on, but you don't know what. So it's something that most people don't even look at, talk about, or know what it is.
Well, yeah, you said it's one of those behind the scene things. It's what the Saturn V rocket, the S-1B rocket for also the S-1B rocket for the Skylab missions launched this base, launched the shuttle Challenger on its fateful launch in January 1986. So very historic. The 50-minute film features many of the people that worked on it the past 50 years, including astronaut Bruce Melnick, who rode the maiden flight of orbiter Endeavour on STS-49 off of that. Um, and so you'll hear more about this. Watch on Facebook. We've got a press release going out today. It'll be 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock at the Hyatt Place Hotel, this beautiful hotel right there on Route 1. Right beside Bowie and then beside the 405 to go into Kennedy Space Center. It's a neat place, isn't it?
It's neat. It's conveniently located. It's easy to get into. It's easy to get out of. It's close to anything and everything that you need around here, but it's a little bit away from the tourists, so you got a little peace and quiet, but you're right there where you need to be, where the action is.
And Mike Cotton and Dave Barnes, our producer, is Pete Charamont, who was a demolition expert that actually took it apart and knew that something should be saved about the history of it. So it's a $25 event, $30 at the door. the money will go to the American Space Museum. God bless Mike Cotton and Dave Barnes for wanting to contribute to our museum. And so if we 100 seats, we stand to make over $2,000. We hope that you can be part of that Base to Space world premiere, September 25th, a Sunday at 2 o'clock at Hyatt Place Hotel.
That would have been very interesting to see how they dismantled that thing, because it was massive, it was huge, and I have to go see this movie
That's
because
going to be on there. I've seen some bulldozers, serious, yeah.
Each one of those little, I guess the feet pad things that go around, each one I guess weighed a ton, and
it's a structure with tunnels in it, rooms in it, all kinds of neat things.
Exactly.
Well, we wanted one other mention thing here on American Space Museum. What about this picture behind us here? Not yours, Carleton, but
well, you don't want to overdo me,
yeah, that's right.
We've got to let some of the small people in the business.
Well, one of the younger hacks out there, Mark Usiak,
one of my best friends.
Hi, Mark.
And
he's a true professional and awesome friend of our museum with his brother Tom. That was a couple weeks ago. When you were being the hotel maid to him and his brother.
I was going to say, yeah, without them, I'd have to shut the bed and breakfast down.
And
although they don't sleep much out there and they don't ever eat breakfast, so.
That's good, yeah. They go home big and fatter than all the. Yeah,
I'm not touching that one. You, anyway. They go
anyway,
home.
Thank you, Mark, for sharing this photo with us. A gorgeous shot of sunrise over Artemis a couple weeks ago. As the sun, wasn't that cool? It went moving south behind
the sun.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, pretty nice shot there. So, well, you were involved with Tom Usiak 26 years ago on this very day. Actually, it was like 4:50 in the morning, launching STS-79. That went to the went to the Mir space station. What am I saying? There was no International Space Station. This was the launch date, September 6, 96. It was Atlantis, the fourth docking with the Mir shuttle. They were taking up John Blaha, and they brought back Shannon Lucid. That was Bill Reedy, Wolcott, Akers, Apt, and Maltz were the astronauts. So, and to prove it, there you are with Tom Usiak.
And
26 years ago.
I know, and I was bigger than Tom. And yet, it was. This is at one of the remote sites that we put up, and back in the day, which is a phrase we can't use anymore, but back in the day, we'd go out and set up, and even back then, back then they weren't called selfies. They were just said, hey, take my picture. So I guess now they're called selfies, but you don't really take them yourself because this was taken feet away. This is the site where the last time we showed that picture of the tripod with the alligator.
Yes.
Okay, this is the site where the alligator was.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, it's close, but it's not close, but it's closer than the average person can get out there.
To take selfies back in 1996 was going to waste a frame of film on your 24
and you always had to take
film.
2 or 3 just in case your eyes were closed because Photoshop wasn't around.
It's amazing that selfies become so popular because it's free. It's free to see your pictures now. You used to have to pay to see every frame, even the bad ones. Here's the walkout that Tom Usiak shot. He said his brother Mark wasn't with him on this trip. And then a gorgeous night launch there. So I know you're very familiar with this spot, like all the rocket photographers out there. Where is that you get the water in the foreground?
If it's where I think it is, there was you'd have to walk down a little row of, well, now this might have been either where we set up those cameras, because there's enough water there if you position the camera just right and you have it aimed just right and you make it look like there's a big lake. Or there's a second shot, if you went down in some woods, or I say swampy area, actually, you'd go through the little swamp forest and then it would open up into a large, if it was raining and we'd have rain, it was a big lake. If it had wet, then it was kind of a dry lake. So, but it wasn't like now where you park a bus, you get off the bus, you're right there. Back in the day, you had to get out of bus and walk several hundred feet sometime if you want to get out in the swamp. You had people in waders up to here that would actually walk in the water to set camera boxes down in the water, well, up above the water, the camera was, and you'd have a second person. How diligent they were, I don't know, but they would be watching for alligators that might be coming up to nab the guys that might be doing that.
Right. Well, we're going to talk about the travails of the two scrubs for Artemis. Couple hundred photographers out there at least. We'll see some behind the scenes pictures of that here in a minute. But yeah, got to look at that picture, you young boys again out there, 26 years ago.
Only good thing now is I don't wear glasses anymore, but and I still got my hair, I guess. So and my sense of humor.
I didn't say hi to Marty Winkle, my co-producer for 2.5 years, over 630 episodes. Stay curious. Hi, Marty.
Hello, Mark.
Talking to us on the UCAC mic that we came in today. That they
I
bought
heard
for us
about
there.
that. Yes, he's sort of like the mobile platform where, or the mobile crawler where he's behind the scenes, but without him, the show wouldn't get where it goes.
That's a good way to put that. That's a good analogy there. So we got our usual friends watching today, Marty.
Yeah, we sure do. We have Dave Sange, Tom Usiak, Robert Law, Melissa Pope, William Whiting, Sharon McDougall, and Christopher Mick.
Hey,
All
thank
right.
you. Hi, Sharon, and she's in Houston. That's the Suit Tech.
Oh,
And you know Sharon.
yeah, I'm sorry that I've actually, like Houston is one of the space centers I've been to. I saw that back in the 70s, back in the Skylab days.
And Robert Law is enjoying Friday afternoon already. Okay, I wonder if Cliff Watson's watching. Cliff's in Australia. Already has a Saturday morning rocking on. So.
Cliff, I want a wombat. Okay, so
We got one plea to you from your friends here, Marty, me, all of our friends at the American Space Museum. We are within 8 people of 10,000 followers on our Facebook page. And if your cat has got a Facebook page, your dog, I don't care, your doll, whatever out there, get on there and follow us on our Facebook page because we are just within less than 10 people of 10,000. And that's an important number to monetize Facebook for us. We've already started monetizing YouTube because you all are watching lots of programs on YouTube, like Robert Law is on his big TV there in Dundee, Scotland.
now will you be able to tell who the 10,000th person is, or you just see it go over? Will you be able to identify the actual 10,000th?
Yes, I'll make something up.
Oh,
And to whoever I think, but we would love to give a gift to someone who's at 10,000th one. If I could figure it out, I would, but no, it's hard
but
to
wait,
do.
there's more.
Yes.
You will be able, I'll donate some photos,
Oh, okay.
some signed photos of Deltas and Atlas shuttles, and we'll get them to you, and we'll ship them out, and it'll be for the 10,000th person.
All right. We hit 10,000. You say you're the one that rang the bell on a message to me. We'll take care of you for sure. But we're so close, and that we had 400 followers 5 years ago. So it's because of you loving the content we post on there, astronaut birthdays, space history, astronomy, and then of course our Stay Curious program. That's over 600 episodes on Facebook. So we're grateful to Facebook for providing this forum for us. But the Facebook page is more than Stay Curious. It's a lot of cool space history. So come on, we're just like less than a dozen people away from 10,000.
And what I found is one of the best things about it is you can put on these new smartphones. You can get on smartphone on Facebook. Just go to your Facebook on smartphone. If you're shopping at one of the large grocery stores around here, just put it up in the cart. You can watch Stay Curious while you're grocery wherever you are.
That's
watch
right.
it, and
All the shows are on there. You were here with us in August on your birthday, the 23rd, I remember, and back in February. So good to have you back again.
anytime.
And this is every photographer has their signature image that you can say, aha, that's the best picture I ever took. Do you say that about this cover you had on Aviation Week?
I gotta say that's pretty much my golden ticket, the Willy Wonka. It was back in the day that we had this thing called film, and we didn't have
No GPS.
no GPS, no computers, no oh, look, let's feed those numbers into the computer that tells me to move 15 feet to the left so I can get that shot. We were out at the press site. They were delaying it. They had like 15 minutes, 20 minutes left in the window, and we're all like, can we go home? It's late, it's cold, it's yeah. And they said, no, it's going to launch. And everybody was more intent on trying to go home. We'd been out there so long waiting for this thing that nobody really recognized the fact that there was a full moon up there until after the launch. And then after it was out of sight and after people stopped doing it, it was like people kind of looked at each other like, did we see what we think we just saw? And only one fella had a digital, a fella from, it might have been Joe Burbank from Orlando Sentinel. And he had a digital, one of the new digital cameras. And it was just 2000, January of 2000.
Wow.
And he looked at it and goes like, yeah, that's what it was. It was a rocket. Now his was digital, so it kind of blew it out, but his was the first one. And then I had film and just 400 speed film and just the right exposure. And you can't tell it from this, but you can see the upper stage, a little vent on the upper stage, and the head of Lockheed Martin that year used it for their Christmas card.
Wow.
And
Great density on the moon there. That's really what makes this. The moon's not so washed out.
Well,
but
that's just it. The one that or Sentinel had that went through the moon, the flame kind of, as the digital will do, especially the early ones, it kind of blew out the flame, which expanded, and then it kind of blew out the bottom of the moon. So you knew the moon was there. You just couldn't see the details.
Well, great shot, Carlton. What year was that?
2000, January
2000, yeah, right.
27th,
Yeah, right
2000,
at the cusp
I think.
of the digital revolution for sure on there. And another, you're known for trying to get a different angle, and what you don't like getting the angle that everybody gets.
Right. And this, I appreciate you using this picture because it is unique. It's laying down on the ground in the crawlerway, looking like you're a dead body to get that picture. And somebody has been begging for me to send them that picture, which I will remain nameless, but he's one of the two that stay at the house. So Tom, it's when I get home tonight, you're getting a mail from it. So don't give up.
Well, good. Okay. And once in a while, a monster shows up on the.
You try to get your kids to behave. You try your hardest to go out and get a shot, and then. If it's not him, somebody's going to photobomb you. So every once in a while, he goes out and photobombs. And I understand, yeah, there'll be more examples of how he photobombs things. So
Without a doubt, Carleton is a big aficionado, shall we say, of Godzilla movies and everything therein. Of the he is the world's greatest
king of the monsters.
Monsters, yeah. He. For sure in there.
He's got it. That's a NASA logo on it.
NASA logo and everything on that.
He's on Facebook.
And, we're going to see that the fame of your little creatures have spread far and wide in the press room.
Look up Buck Bailey. His name is Buck Bailey on Facebook. Follow him too, but follow Space Museum first.
Well, that's just not a crazy hat you have on there.
No,
but you got some of your characters up there. Where you standing?
That is the VAB
on
roof.
On
top of the VAB roof.
Gigantic VAB roof.
This would have been October, not last year, 2 Octobers ago, or in October, November. I guess November. November, December time frame. Fozzie's got his ugly Christmas sweater on, so I can tell it's around Christmas time. I just bought this hat up in Columbus, Ohio, visiting a friend where it was like 8 degrees. And
go Buckeyes, Chris Callie.
You pay that kind of money for, $10 for a hat. You're never going to wear it in Florida. So when the temperature dropped below 50, by all means, I'm going to wear it. So that was waiting for, that would have been probably, that might have been for the Super Heavy or one of the Super Heavies, or probably an Atlas shot, but we're pointed toward the Atlas or the Falcon pad. So that might have,
41.
Yeah, I think that was a Falcon Heavy that we shot from up there. Then because I got the Landon coming back, so there's 2 boosters coming back, and that was daytime. So that was probably the Falcon Heavy shot that I shot up there.
Well, we just want to establish a little bit that you do know your way around the camera there. Gorgeous shot. But you're going to tell us that not every shot you plan with your remotes now. This is way too close for him to be standing there. This is a remote camera. Triggered how?
Sound. Mine, I've got a couple different kinds. I could tell you that they work. I can tell you how they work, but I can't give you the technical how they work. The sound goes in them, sets off a capacitor or some electronical unit. And once mine, I either set at 100 decibels if I'm real close, or 110 decibels if I'm a little farther, or if it's bad storm or there's high wind, because you don't want the wind or the storm to set it off. That was one.
Who's the astronaut?
Jim Buckley.
Okay, Jim Buckley.
Jim Buckley. So it was STS 29, I think.
Early in the program.
And yeah, so that was from what they call the crawlerway.
Yeah.
And I see the next one's going to be from the crawlerway as well.
Coats it. That was STS 29. Your March '89, Discovery's 8th flight.
23 years ago.
Coates and Blaha was the pilot on that. So that's another shot with Blaha on.
And that was another case of
that was
meeting.
actually Bob Seek's third flight launch.
And that was a case of meeting someone who came into the store, and I got to know them, gave them pictures. They gave
To the
picture.
store. Tell us what store you worked at.
At the time, it was Eckerd's, which
You were a
involved
photo lab
photolab
expert.
technician / manager sometimes. In a 1-hour photo lab. This is the one on Garden Street way back 15, 17 years ago, 25 years ago. And then Eckerd's became CVS that it is now. So
on Cocoa Beach.
that one was in Titusville
Okay.
because, and then I'll think of it before we're finished. The fella that lived there used to bring his.
Well, you had a career.
Right. Oh, yeah, I had a career
involved
doing the
in that and got to know astronauts. And I think it's neat that Carleton would go out and shoot a launch, maybe that middle of the night one, process his pictures. The family, wife or cousin or grandparents or something come in and get their beach pictures, and you're laying on them these beautiful shots of your work.
There was one launch, and I got caught off guard today, so I didn't find it, but I will find it before I come in next time. I saw the name on a bag of someone coming back in, and I'm like, I want to be here when he picks it up because I recognize the last name. And it was the father of an astronaut. And went out to the Space Center. It was like a 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning landing. And I shot the landing. And I went into the store early, got the machines clean, and before the store opened kind of thing, I printed up some of my pictures of the landing. And about 10:30 or so, this gentleman comes up and he says, I'd like to pick up some pictures for Vern. And I said, oh, okay. I got him his pictures. I handed them to him. I said, you look really familiar. He says, oh, do I? I said, if I didn't know better, I'd say you're Kent Rominger. But I would know better because he just landed the space shuttle about 4 or 5 hours ago, and NASA's not going to let him out this early. Well, sometimes when NASA doesn't know what you're doing, you get away with it, I guess. So that was Kent Rominger,
Wow.
who I gave him his
Great
landing
commander.
pictures, where he and his family then had pictures before NASA even probably had theirs developed.
Huh. I'd love to meet Romo there for sure.
So
Great story there, Carleton. Well, some of your setups don't always work out the way you want them to.
now this is basically in the same area that the last picture we had on. This is a little bit wider. You can see what I was trying to do is to get it coming up off the pad. Occasionally, this was actually the first frame, probably maybe the second, because the first frame might have the tip of the tank in it. The first frame and the only frame basically that was usable in this whole sequence, because the cloud, rather than blowing to the side or coming straight out, it came straight out and went straight up.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the problem with these head-on, what we call the crawlerway shots. If the smoke is coming that way, if you don't get it quick before the boosters light, then you're not going to get anything. And then once the boosters light, the main engines, it lifts off, the smoke would come straight out. Now, you were hoping for like a northern or a southern breeze that would kind of knock it one way or the other. But if it was sort of an east-west kind of breeze, it would come out. And that's one of the problems you're going to run into Artemis. One of the places they have us set up for Artemis, which I did not, is directly in the opposite view of that, on the other side over on the beach road. So when the smoke comes out, and from what I understand, all the smoke from Artemis is going to come out the back. What's the back side? And when it does that, it goes straight up. Then anybody setting up back there is pointing their cameras high, because they know the smoke is going to come straight out, obscure everything, and they're hoping that somewhere up here the rocket will come out of the cloud of smoke.
Actually, that is steam, isn't
Steam,
that?
that's-
Off the SF, the three main engines.
Three main
that Marty
engines.
was a computer engineer on those engines. And the other trench, the solid rocket boosters go out, so you can tell the different colors.
Different colors.
SRBs are kind of brownish orange there, but that's mostly steam from the
And
rainbirds and all the
Right.
water being deluged for sound suppression.
they took us out for a flight readiness firings. They did it before each flight. They did it before 26 was the reflight, and they did it Endeavor. They did it before they flew all of them. But I got to witness the one for STS 26 and also the one from before the very first flight of Endeavor. And they actually took us to an oversight place where we're setting up for Artemis. So we were only, maybe a mile away when they lit these three engines, and the smoke, like I said, would go straight out and went all the way out, and then at the end it would start curving up. And the higher it got up, you actually saw the rain falling, because that's all it is: steam, hydrogen, oxygen, it's water. And it was creating a rain cloud.
Wow.
And you could
Interesting.
actually see the rain falling.
Huh. Well, sometimes your camera's not pointing right.
No, or something moves it, or you think you're pointing in the right direction. And I've learned that, it was a half an inch off when I set it up. But this way, that was supposed to be centered, and it wasn't. So fortunately, with the right crop, you could do a nice vertical on it. I just cropped it this way to get a little bit more of the smoke on there. But yeah, sometimes you point it, and we've done like the engine shots and literally had it a quarter of an inch on setting it up, a quarter of an inch out of line, and that would take it 50 feet out of line on the engines.
Well, here's one of a kind, beautiful shots there. What kind of equipment do you use, Carleton?
That was with a Canon, that was B film, so it was probably the old Canon T90, which was a workhorse. I swear, I think you could use it for a hammer if you needed to.
Yeah.
I miss that. I wish they had something equivalent to that in a digital. You could take 9 pictures on the same frame of film. So if you wanted to do a streak shot, you could do a broken streak shot, or you could do a shot of, for example, when I did the Hale-Bopp Comet, I did a 1-second exposure on the shuttle and about a 3-minute, and then that was the first frame. And then the second frame, I would cover the bottom half of the lens and did about a 3 to 5 minute exposure on the Hale-Bopp Comet. And when the picture gets developed, you got a nice view of the comet. You got a nice view, and the shuttle wasn't burned out. Columbia wasn't burned out, and
I'd love to see that one someday.
So it's one of the tricks of the trade. But you can't do that with the digital. At least I don't know how.
Well, you're not the only one to take your pets out with you to the launch site. Kind of good luck charms, huh?
He started off as
Other photographers have their own little.
Gene Wright is taking little trolls out there.
Mm-hmm.
I tell her that's good. She's got a ways to go, but she's trying. and Fozzie he's king of the vinyls. It's never underestimate the power of vinyls.
And you're going to see the power of vinyl even influencing an astronaut here in a minute. Nice, gorgeous shot. You got a good eye for the unusual or a different angle there. That's a TV radio dish there.
Right, like
on the left. It got kind of cropped out there a little bit. What's that shot all about?
Well, it was up at the press site, and I looked out there, and in my mind, in paper, it looked much better. On both sides, yeah, it was cropped down to a square. The original did have more of the live truck on the left, and actually there's a live truck on the right. And once I got it back and looked at it, I'm like, okay, the live truck on this side, your side, anyway,
Yeah.
that one, the big side. was very overexposed toward the edges because there's a lot of light around it. And the same with the other side. So I just said, well, rather than try to darken this, I'm like, let's go the easy way. Just crop that out, and go with this. And when I get time to go back, there's some others I can go back in and get both. And I got that. I'll be honest. I got that idea because of Professor Mark
Okay.
UCAC, walking in his footsteps.
Well, you two were part of over 200 photographers credentialed out there for the two scrubs of Artemis. Tell us about that, how that's working out for you, and what's happening coming up here in the next 2 weeks.
Works out great for me because I live 15 minutes away.
There you go.
I don't have to change flights every 3 days. I don't have to find hotel rooms every 3 days.
But that's a big problem people aren't thinking about, of the whole infrastructure of the news business out there. These scrubs, we're not knocking them. We need to fly this safely. We had Mike Lineback, the launch director of 37 shuttles, saying his job was to keep the shuttle on the ground
right
until 22,000 things were checked off.
I've seen way too many anomalies to ever want to see another anomaly out there. Pretty much one of everything. And I'd rather wait 6 months. I don't want to wait another 6 years, but I'd rather wait 2 or 3 months. I'll wait till October, November, December. Also, when we don't have thunderstorms, if that's when it takes. I want everything to be right on target, so there will be an Artemis 2 and an Orion 2 and Orion 3. Anything happens to this, then, I don't know.
So we're going to see some behind-the-scenes press shots here, but you left your remote cameras out there for how long, and they had to be harvested, and then you had some surprises when you looked at your digital cards.
They scrubbed the first time, and it was like 3 days after. I think it was a Monday that they scrubbed, and something happened. We didn't get back out there till Wednesday, probably Thursday, to get our cameras. So they sat out in the rain and everything for 2 or 3 days. And that afternoon, there was a horrendous downpour. Okay, so Monday was the set out, then Tuesday was the scrub, Wednesday, so Thursday. So they sat out there for 3 days in weather that was just torrential. And there was an incident that happened about 1:50, 2 o'clock in the afternoon that several people captured at the press site. But my remote camera that was sitting out there actually got the lightning strike on the lightning tower.
Wow.
And that's from the remote camera that was, I guess, maybe a half mile away or so. And I actually got 3 frames. So it was pretty severe out there. It was set at 110 decibels. So to get 3 frames, something had to start it off at 110 decibels and then to keep it going. So that's why we're not allowed that close. And that proves that the lightning towers work.
I'd love to have someone on Stay Curious explain those towers, because they're just not a metal pole sticking up there.
They've got wires.
They've got a whole system of even attracting
right
the lightning to those poles.
Right, and then they've got huge wires. I mean, think of Benjamin Franklin's kite with the key and the wire down to the ground. And yeah, again, it's like one of those things that works. How they work, better man than I knows. But
well, take us behind the scenes of the press corps there, Carleton.
this is it used to be called the press dome. I still call it the press dome because I'm too old for change. But it's more of a press rectangular now. And they tore down the old dome and put in this real building. The dome had been there since the bicentennial.
All right. Quonset hut type of thing.
Yeah. And the desks there to the
geodesic dome, I was thinking.
right. That's the yeah, exactly. That's where all the people that build
the
it.
VIP.
Well, no,
workers of
those
the press.
yeah. Well, the VIP, the workings of the press are like the side with the guys with the blue shirt on, and the ones hanging up backwards, and then the ones on the other side are the PAOs and directors and spokespeople for the various companies and industries and Lockheed and Boeing and whoever's working on this. They'd have one NASA headquarters, Johnson, Marshall, Huntsville, of course, Kennedy Space Center, and they would be there to answer whatever questions you had, if at all they could be. The one question they couldn't answer was, when is it going to launch? And you kind of just wait and hurry up and wait.
Marty, we got any comments or questions over there? You're writing down there.
Just a name.
Okay. Name some of your friends there. It actually looks more like a
Bus
airport,
station. I was going to
or
say an
bus
airport,
station,
bus
yeah.
station.
Bus station, airport.
The fella on closest to the front here in the blue shirt, not that all three don't have
With
blue
the beard.
shirts, with the beard, that's Julian Leake.
Yeah. Hi,
And
Julian.
He's
been around a while.
been around a while. He does a lot of news reporting, and on his page he's got a lot of not just space but traffic wrecks and anything going on. But he's been out there for a long time, and he sets out
Since Apollo
remotes. And,
15, I know. Since 1971, probably. I think he's been covering rocket
Yeah.
launches.
the other two,
If you don't know him, that's fine.
no, one of them I know is John Tilko from MIT,
Right.
and I'm not sure whether you met him or not.
Yes, we had dinner with him.
And the other one might be that that fella that came in from Houston that was with Lockheed or Boeing.
We know
Oh!
this crowd
No.
here. The King's holding court
The
there.
king is holding court,
King
and
Z, that is John
and-
Zarella, CNN reporter
the
extraordinaire. in his
purple
day.
shirt. The fella closest in the blue striped shirt, that's David Waters, who has been out there. He came along during the shuttle period. Now, I believe he's got his own production company now. And John Zarella works with him sometimes. And he's one of the nicest people. You meet some good, nice people in the press, and you meet some people that not
Yeah.
so nice.
Well, sometimes that's the big people being flown in from
Right.
the
David
major
Waters,
things, but-
anybody in this picture, David Waters is just one of the nicest, coolest people you met.
Ken
John,
Kramer, we got Ken
got
Kramer, there
Kramer.
standing up there. He's wearing a Gene Wright outfit there.
Right.
Ken, big help to our museum over the years.
Julian Leake in the middle, in the light blue shirt. The fellow in the dark blue shirt is John Shaban. He is a cameraman. He's another behind the scenes. He's the Marty of Channel 13. He's the one that takes the camera out there for John. I'm sorry. He's going to kill me because I forgot his name. Greg Pallone.
Oh, Greg Pallone.
Greg
yeah,
Pallone.
sure.
And there's another fella.
Spectrum News.
and,
Greg Pallone.
And I think the other fella that works for him, I swear, I think his name is Will Robinson.
Okay.
Because I kept remembering, Danger
I want
Will.
to give you a flavor of the newsroom, and we thank Mark Usiak for these photos because
And they've got TVs up at the top that would have the
Yeah.
NASA channel on there,
There
so we
you
could
go.
see what's going on.
when Carleton takes pictures in the newsroom, he has a telephoto lens on,
No,
and you're only looking for pretty sights there with Fodsy.
Mark does the technical, and I do the art photos.
Okay.
This is Julie and Heather, and I apologize to the one on the right there. I do not know her
You didn't
name.
get her number, huh?
I think Julie. I worked with Julie Arnold. Is just a dear friend. I worked with her back when I was working for Boeing and ULA, and she was one of my bosses, so to speak, that I would report to and make sure you had pictures and all. Heather, she works with ULA. She's into Tyrannosaurus Rexes, so I
Yeah.
gotta love her. But
Well,
they're
here-
head of the ULA people.
Here's an astronaut that's into
He-
your little creatures there. That's we got to minimize that, I think, to look at his the full thing of it there. But who's that?
That's Bill MacArthur, who was there to work
Well,
with.
they don't know who Bill
Oh,
MacArthur
Bill
is, they?
MacArthur was a space shuttle astronaut who had flown, I think he said 4 times. And
Yeah.
I got to talking
Yeah.
with him. And he was there actually to be behind the scenes commentator for one of the news organizations as it was launching. They always had the talking heads going, okay, telling the people that know what's going on, telling the media people, and they would be with the media people, a specific organization that day on camera, explaining what was going on so the viewers knew. He was so polite that we'd met him and talked to him way before this that day and talked to him at length. And when he came into the press dome, we were like, hey, do we have a picture with you with this guy? And then in his left hand is Fozzie's bigger, ugly, angrier brother. So we call him Angry Fodzilla. And after the second scrub, he got even angrier. So it's one of those things that keeps you sane when you're in the world of the insanity out there.
Bill McCarthy, a great person, a good guy, gave a great talk out there at the Visitors Complex. Of course, he's introduced by Nick Thomas. All the astronauts are. Nick's become a good friend of our American Space Museum. We'll be seeing more of him on Stay Curious. So
Nick's another one. Just go out to the Space Center and see the astronauts, and spend time talking to Nick if you got a chance, because he's the memo book to the astronauts almost. He knows what the astronauts know, and he's got stories that, yeah, Nick, they deserve to be in a book, and I'll get you the photos.
all right. So way to a man's heart, we all know, is to his stomach. And there's Jean Wright, and Jean was quite a hit there at the press corps with all her little goodies she baked up there.
Well, she was. She's always good with the cookies when she brings them, but on a day when there's a scrub and everybody's got to wait around to see what's going on and they're in a hold or this or that, and she shows up with, a U-Haul it full of cookies for us, chocolate chip or to die for. Don't need so many raisins in them, but it's, it feeds you. You forget to take sandwiches. They've got, it's something. It's not the best lunch, but I tell you what, it's one of the best tasting.
Yeah. Good to see you, Jane. We'll have her back on Stay Curious in the future here. So another, I like that shot. Wood and metal or technology and wood. That's what I think when I see that.
I sort of name or call it, if I post it, I call this like the view through the crack in my office wall for the day. And it was just two pieces, 4x4 sticking up out of the ground that had been there for, God, they might have been there during the Apollo days. But they were all, just kind of sitting there, and you go and like, I don't know why, you just kind of go like, well, it's different. Nobody else is taking a picture. Let's take a picture. If it works, great. If it doesn't, and this one actually worked real well when I printed it out in 3D, because you had the office walls, so to speak, the wood in there, and then the Artemis in the distance, and I got a lot of compliments on that. And Gene, I'm still not going to tell you because it hasn't launched yet. Gene wanted to know where they were, and I said, nope, that's my picture.
Uh-huh. Yes, photographers are a little protective of their techniques and some of their spots that they get, so forth, because it's sort of a dog-eat-dog. A lot of these freelancers selling their photographs to the some people. Who are some of the places that our Stay Curious people would know that you sold your wonderful work to, Carleton?
Well, I didn't sell, but the NASA Permanent Library's got 20 of my pictures in there that I had shot for ULA or Boeing. A couple of them I shot and NASA didn't shoot, so they asked if they could use mine. And I'm like, well, yeah, of course. It's a dream come true kind of thing. I've done rock.
Well, what's paid the bills, though? Who's helped pay your bills?
CVS.
Oh, okay.
If you want to know, this CVS paid the bills and got me my health insurance. This
Aviation Week and
Aviation Week.
A lot of people don't even know these magazines anymore.
Aviation Week. There's Countdown. There's Space Flight. There's a lot of British ones that they got. Air Power, I think, was one of them that they used. Well, I've had them in Time and Newsweek and Fortune and newspapers. When I went to California, all the local Lompoc News used it. The San Diego papers, the LA Times used pictures that I had. Orlando Sentinel, Florida Today, Rockwell, Grumman, Space Lab, Space Hab.
Well, good. Well, like I said, there's over probably close to 300 photographers out there for Artemis. So what do you think? What do you think about the schedule here? Tell everybody again what's the latest that you hear as we look at the countdown clock and the behemoth out there on pad 39B.
Well, what I'm hearing is what everybody else is hearing officially is the 27th, I think, is the opening of the next available window. Anything up to that was going to be a nighttime launch. And personally, in my opinion, I don't think they're going to go for a nighttime launch, just because they want to see. I would think they want to see it. The 27th and the backup days, I guess, was the 29th. I've been told the 27th isn't good because it's somebody's birthday, but
Okay.
I just wanted to go up safe. 29th, and then you move into October.
Yeah.
The one thing
No,
that is going to be a push to it is I haven't seen, and if it's out there, I've missed it, but I haven't seen anything written about the Air Force and their decision whether to okay and approve the destruct system, the package, the battery, so that can't be recertified at the launch pad, have to be recertified in the VAB.
Mm-hmm.
So they'd have to roll it into the VAB for the Air Force to recertify the system. And if they don't, it will, I mean, imagine something on the shelf at a grocery store, this, best if used by. And it's going to be not well past the best used by, but it's going to be past the you shouldn't use it after this date. And it needs to be recertified by the Air Force. If the Air Force recertifies it and a hurricane doesn't come, they can leave it at the pad. And if they get the leaks fixed, if the Air Force decides not to recertify it, they'll have to roll it back in. And a lot of people are kind of iffy on that. I understand. Again, I don't know what the technical terms are, but there's like a shelf life of how many times you can roll it in and out before I imagine things start to be unstable trying to haul this thing that many miles on a pedestal. So.
Yeah, 7 million pound rocket on this crawler. I mean, folks, it's not a smooth
no
operation. There's bumps and
it looks smooth because it's going.
It's so big.
It's so
going
big.
so slow.
But they use lasers to guide it. But yeah, it's still.
Do they? Huh? Say hi to our friends.
All right, Gary Jarrell, Lisa Marie. I'm glad you're watching today. You got nothing better to do. No. I know.
Okay.
So, all right, and Denny, is that a no?
Noah, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Denny Noah there.
If I mispronounced, my name is Mark Marquette. No.
Marty, what do you have over there?
Just the ones I gave you earlier.
Okay, I thought you had a note there.
No.
Something for later. Well, Marty, would you get up and get something for me there? Carleton, we've got a little something for you. Everybody here at the American Space Museum is really...
It's not my birthday.
Well, it was, and we ordered this for your birthday, but the boat from China took a long time to get here, and we think a lot of you here at the American Space Museum. So we wanted you to have something here that I'm pretty sure you'll like.
I like, and
This
that's
shirt to add to your exclusive wardrobe.
I do
there.
not have that either.
Your little kitty cat's on there.
That is.
Well, Carleton, you're one of the supporters of our museum, like so many that get what we're all about, and we're really blessed to have great people like you and the UCX and Chris Calley and Gene Wright and people like that out there talking about us constantly, and you're one of them. And we want you to have that and appreciation for sharing your photos and spreading the word about our proud nonprofit.
I will accept it if you invite me back soon so I can wear it for you.
Good. We will do that. We will. Can't wait to see you in this. But
and
I'm actually, color on you there. So, and those of you that don't get, it's a cat image against the entire universe there on Stay Curious. So, Carleton, God bless you and thank you, buddy, for what you do.
It's going to get good wear, and trust me, get me back. I'll wear it, and we'll have more seedy little tales.
Well, personally, I value your friendship and
tales from the launch pad.
As we go down our road here, facing our 7th decade here pretty soon. It's great to have wonderful friends like you that I can relate to and are crazy about space and photography. So, Carleton, thank you, buddy. Appreciate that.
I appreciate that. And
Marty, we got a comment there?
Yeah. First, Jimmy Brown's watching also, but we have a comment or a question from Lisa Marie.
Uh-oh.
Hypothetical question of the day for Carleton and Fodzy. Who would win in a battle between the infamous Wayward plane and Godzilla.
The Wayward Plane.
I imagine she's talking about that wayward plane that, oh, I didn't know I was in airspace.
Oh, okay.
So,
I gotcha.
well, in reality, I believe Fodsy would sit there and see it, and unlike the Air Force or Patrick or somebody that knew what they were doing and using a plane to get him out, he would just kind of light up the sky with his radioactive breath and hey, if you don't know who was in it, you don't see the plane, it was never there, right?
Okay. Definitely Godzilla would win.
All right.
Marty?
But Carleton, you said in reality?
Yeah.
Well, in my reality, I guess.
There we go.
There we
Clarify
go.
that, Marty. You're talking to an engineer over there and two right-brained artists over
Right.
here.
And
right?
Lisa, thank you for the question, and we're going to go on the 27th just for you on that
There
one.
you go. Well, before we end Stay Curious today, we got 4 astronauts, Carleton, that we wanted to do a quick shout out on their birthdays. Today is the 66th birthday of shuttle commander and pilot Kevin Kriegel. You photographed a couple of his launches, 87, 99, 70, and 78.
All 4 of
53
them.
days in space. He grew up in Amityville, New York. All right.
Where Bruce the Jaws is from.
That's, well, is it really?
Amityville, yeah.
And,
oh, no, that was
so
Massachusetts.
Happy 66th birthday to Bruce, 66th birthday to Kevin Kriegel. 3 birthdays tomorrow, folks. Pam Melroy, Pambo, this is her picture. She's 60. She was born in Palo Alto, California, grew up in Pittsford, New York. Pambo flew as a pilot on 92 and 112 and commander of 120, the second female commander behind Eileen Collins. And this beautiful picture of her, government photo, she is the assistant administrator of NASA behind Bill Nelson. So,
and one of the nicest people you'd ever meet.
oh boy, I'll tell you that. You got that right. 61 years old for Pambo on tomorrow. Also, Sam Durant's shuttle astronaut will be 79 years old tomorrow. He's born in Tallahassee, Florida. An astronomer, 2 space flights, 25 days in space. STS 35 and 67, both Astrolab missions. I've met Sam, a great guy, and maybe get around a telescope with him one day. Born in Tallahassee 79 years ago tomorrow. And the General, Mr. Tom Stafford, happy 92nd birthday to you tomorrow, sir. I've met him several times. You ever met the General?
Yes, several times. When you're with the UCX, if you don't meet an astronaut, it's a bad day.
Yeah.
It's like me. See, yeah.
Well, he's a smart cookie.
Sharp as a whip.
Of course, the General was born in Weatherford, Oklahoma, where he built a fabulous space museum that needs to be on everybody's bucket list. I've been there 4 times, twice a Gemini pilot, and 6 months apart on his missions because he was a backup crew on 9, and we lost that crew in a plane wreck. 92 years old for the General, Apollo Soyuz commander of the Apollo Soyuz test flight after the Apollo 10 orbiting the moon. And just we wish him the best. And I understand he's still in pretty good health in there. And would you believe that he and moonwalker Edgar Mitchell shared the same birth date and year? I didn't put a picture of Edgar Mitchell in there. Edgar Mitchell died in 2016 at age 86. But he was a great friend of the museum. So wish him happy birthday on our Facebook pages there. We want to throw in this picture of the General that Tom Usiak took during a press conference for Apollo Soyuz in 1975.
Tom was at the Wright brothers.
That's right. Tom also photographs the Wright brothers.
He put out remotes for that. That was his first remote job.
His first remote job was the Wright brothers. I wonder who took that picture of the flyer up there.
Yeah, they stood in front of it to
Tom
take that
Usiak
picture.
took
Tom
that,
Usiak,
huh?
yeah.
There's the General again. And wanted to remind this group, you know who took this picture?
You.
No,
Oh.
I'm going to take one this weekend because Mike Killian reminded me that this is Milky Way weekend. The moon is in the late morning sky, well after midnight. So people think the Milky Way is a summertime thing, Carlton, but actually the Milky Way is more visible and fantastic in September and October. So get out there with your digital cameras, set it on a high ISO like 2000, have it on a tripod, take a 30-second exposure, and you'll capture something like this, like our friend Mike Killian.
You got to go where there's no lights. And if you live a place with lights and you've never been in a place with no lights, you've probably never seen it. The first time you do, awe-inspiring.
Yeah, it's great. So get out there on the weekend here, and we'll have another opportunity on moonless nights in Rocktober to see the Milky Way. So get out there and get you some starlight out there, all right? Capture some star photons from billions of miles away. Well, there you are, buddy, with your friend at the Artemis rocket launch. We certainly hope that we get this beast up in the air, and that the Orion spacecraft has a wonderful mission like it's supposed to, so we can get boots back on the moon.
I right there with you.
And thank you, Mark Usiak, for sharing your pictures. And we thank Hyatt Place for sponsoring our Base to Space documentary a week from Sunday. We'll be hearing more about that, but this is an awesome place for y'all to stay. And Dana and Robert there do a great job and help us out a lot. So do that. So appreciate everybody enjoying another week of Stay Curious. Marty, anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Well, thank you again, sir.
I got one more thing.
Of course, yes.
10,000 followers. Let's don't stop at 10,000. Let's go up to 10,700. Let's over 10,000, and I will get together a little care package of photos through the years. It's not going to be what I'll work with whoever wins, with if they got any favorite launches or favorite things from out at the Space Center. After Apollo days, you have to talk to old people like Tom for those, I guess. But
Yeah.
I'll work with you. What you want, we try to give you, and 10,000 perts, and
Well, I hope to get over my computer and see we've hit 10,000. Hope that you've all helped us over the last couple of days, and it's important to monetize Facebook for our nonprofit, and we'll get there. And we're glad that you appreciate the content that we put up every day, 3 or 4 posts about space history, astronaut birthdays. Not always on top of everything every day. You know, we're a nonprofit with 4 employees. I'm privileged to be one. Marty's a volunteer. He does a lot for us. You know that you see Marty always at the launches selling T-shirts and stuff like that.
well, we keep saying we're winding down the launches after 600 and some, and it's a new world out there, and I don't do well with change. Let's put it that way. So it's time to live now. I'm young again, and I hope to get down here and volunteer and show up on a regular basis and tell people little stories that I'm not going to tell you over the TV like this,
Yeah.
but I got plenty I'll tell you.
Well, and if you want to go to Zarella's and buy him a meal, he'll be happy to tell you more stories there. Let's see what you're going to change into after the show here. And we're going to thank everybody for watching Stay Curious this week. We got a lot of things lined up for next week. And Carleton, thank you very much. You enjoy your rocket launch out there, and enjoy your shirt there, buddy.
And I don't just wear these in here. I wore them to the concert last night, and I had young people tell me, dude, you're old, but you look good in that.
Okay.
So,
Well, I look good in my vest.
you
here,
do.
So,
We'll have to.
Marty, thanks for all you do. A great Streamlabs presentation. We always have Trekkie Techie Jessica Galloway waiting in the wings if we have any problem, and that makes us feel better so that we can bring you a good program at 4 o'clock on weekdays. Watch us on YouTube, Spotify, Twitch, and of course Facebook. So until we kick it off next week, on behalf of the American Space Museum, Carleton Bailey, my buddy Marty Winkle, I'm Mark Marquette saying we will see you again to bridge the space between
us.